emissions, engines, fuel mileage, performance, troubleshooting, emissions, new technology, and more. Call us now at 888-8-ROAD-DOG.
Welcome back. I'm Kevin Rutherford. This is the Power Hour. We're going to get back to the calls here in a second. John, did you see the link I just sent you?
Not yet.
Oh.
Did you text it or hold on?
Texted it. Yeah. Texted it.
Hold on.
I was going to talk about this at the beginning, and I forgot about it. I talked about it yesterday, I think. A company in Canada has developed what they claim is a more efficient diesel fuel. So it's still diesel fuel. It'll go in any truck. The truck doesn't require any modifications. They claim they're bombarding the fuel with some sort of a catalyst. And they talk about two tests that they ran in there. One was on a 12-liter diesel engine. It was a Hino or a Hino truck.
I'm reading it now.
Yeah, so they did a 4-month test with 3 trucks, total of 78,000 miles, and the average fuel economy for those trucks was 8.16, which is pretty respectable. Then they established that baseline of 8.16, 3 trucks, 78,000 miles. Then they ran those same trucks for another 90 days, did another 41,000 miles, and the fuel economy went to 9.85.
Wow.
Only change was the fuel. That was almost a 21% increase. They did another test with a 13-liter, again, a Hino or Hino, however you pronounce that truck. Not quite as long, but still a pretty respectable test. They went from 6.16 in this operation to 7.8. That's a 27% increase.
Yeah, that's significant. We've been doing some testing here with some fuel-borne catalysts. Actually, I just sent a couple of gallons out to Steve to try out, because if I get numbers from it, he'll be able to tell us. And there is some science behind this. I don't know if you read up on any of these catalysts, but the reaction, the chemical reaction they have during the combustion process is what does it, is what makes the difference. And it's interesting that the stuff's not blended in the fuels at the refinery, and maybe it will be sometime soon. Some other info I have, but there's definitely some science behind it.
Yeah, they're also claiming less emissions, lower carbon footprint on this. That's a significant. I mean, if we look at all the technology being used to chase fuel economy right now, other than electric, or even electrifying axles or things like that, if we set electric aside, there's nothing anywhere on the horizon that's going to give us 20%. There's no one single thing. I don't even think there's anything on the horizon that would give us 10% right now in technology. So to think that a fuel alone, and we don't even have to modify the truck to use the fuel, could get us 20%, that's huge.
Yes,
we've been testing one that gave us 14%. John, do you want to talk about that one?
Well, that's the stuff I'm going to wait till I get data back from Steve, because that particular truck, we did a whole bunch of other work on at the same time.
Okay.
So my scientific / racer brain tells me that I need to do an apples to apples comparison. So our baseline was a truck that wasn't tuned, that didn't have the Dorothy on it, and we did it all at once. So we tuned it, we put the Dorothy on, and then we started running the catalyst, and he did see a 14% increase, but what do we attribute it to? And we made too many changes at once.
Yeah.
So that's why I sent a couple gallons of the stuff off to Steve, and so we'll see what he comes back with. So, yeah.
Got it.
And again, if they're doing it here, I'm reading this, the way they do it at the refinery level is probably even way more efficient than the way we're doing it with an additive. So that's interesting. I'll follow this. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, and this sounds like you say a little more in depth. It'd be one thing to be able to pour a product in. That would be pretty cool. This, they use the words, they're bombarding the fuel with catalyst particles as it's refined. So that does sound like a more in-depth process. What they don't talk about here is cost.
Right.
If it saves 20% in efficiency, but it costs 25% more, then what's the point? Maybe the lower emissions possibly, but I would think that if this truly gets us 20%, they find a way to drive the cost down to where it becomes effective.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and like we were talking about last week, they'll they'll be looking to sell this process to Shell or whoever, right? And
I think it would be huge. I mean, if you think about it, even if we had a modification that could improve fuel economy by 20%, which we don't, I mean, you just don't see those kind of gains. Do you think about all the diesel fuel that's combined around the world? You're never going to do that modification to every truck. But
No.
every one of those trucks uses fuel. So if you can improve the fuel to get 20%, that's incredible.
absolutely, yeah. Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Let's get to some phone calls. Let's go to Washington. Roger, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kevin. I'm question on the Dorothy. I just understood yesterday you talked about it, and I understood the process, what goes through. Is it available for the Volvo V13?
It will be. We have a test truck right now that's running one. We've not developed a kit for it yet. It's a custom install. We need to make it a little bit bigger than we normally do. That thing's got some pretty large EGR tubing on it. But we'll see what happens with our test truck. It seems to be running quite well. We'll be putting those into production soon.
Okay, so just call to Pittsburgh Power.
Yeah, call in. Yeah, give me a couple of months probably. We need to get some. We're working on Cummins kits. We'll have some Mandrel Bent Cummins kits down here shortly. I've ordered 20 for stock right now, and then we'll progress on into others. Then the next on the list is going to be DD15, then the Volvo. I seem to have a lot of call for Volvo, so I might, if we're catching a lot of particulate in our test truck, I might accelerate that one. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. I'm going to get to this final break. We're going to come back and knock out a couple more calls and questions before we've got to wrap this up. Stick around. We'll be right back with more of the Power Hour.